Thanksgiving. So today is actually Thanksgiving morning, and this video is all about preparing a delicious Thanksgiving meal, but doing it in the most efficient way possible so we can be in and out of the kitchen in just a few hours. I don't want to spend all day in the kitchen, and in fact I don't even have all day because it's already like 10:30 in the morning. So we're planning to have dinner maybe around 4 or 5, so I have to kind of get in and get out when it comes to cooking this meal. So I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right into starting the preparations. All right, y'all, so the only thing I did ahead of time was rinse a 2-pound bag of sweet potatoes, and then I just popped those in the oven for about an hour, hour and a half, and now I pulled them out and I'm just waiting for those to cool down so that I can make the pie with these. But that's all I did ahead of time. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping the turkey, and this year I'm just gonna break it down. I've never done this before, so hopefully it goes smoothly, but yeah, I know it'll cook quicker if I do that, so that's my next step. Okay, so here's my whole turkey. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this little, whatever this thing is. Yeah, I got my dishwater over here with soap and bleach, so I can just like dip my hands in there and get them clean in between touching stuff, because I don't want to cross-contaminate other surfaces in the kitchen. I'm gonna start with the legs, I guess. Go ahead and aim for this center part between the joints. That came out pretty easily. Now I just got to get this part separated from the rest of the turkey. So this is the leg, this is the thigh, and we want to separate it from the rest of it. So, or from the what is this? The backbone of the turkey. Kind of see it, like where you should be cutting, like around here. Gotta kind of feel for it. Boom. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So there's our dark meat. And then for our white meat, we have our, obviously our wings, and then our breast area. So to get these wings, I'm gonna like pop the joint right here. Well, first let me break the skin. Alright, so I cut that little piece. It's like a little piece of the breast attached to it. Oh, that came off very easily. There's a wing. Just gonna do the exact same thing on the other side once again. Now all we have left is the breasts. Well, there's 2 breasts obviously, and then I'm gonna take this little thing out because I'm not gonna cook it the traditional way. And oh, we got giblets. This thing is still attached. I don't know how they did that, but I think the neck is in here. Something's in here, but let's see. I don't really know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm just gonna kind of wing it because not really sure. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Let me show you. I'm just kind of cutting along the backbone of the turkey, I guess. So that was easy. Now what's left is the neck. There's our neck, still a little bit frozen. And we have the breast. Okay, that's coming off easy, so just show you. Just cutting straight down here. So here's all the little pieces of the turkey that we're not going to use. We got the backbone, which is in 2 pieces, and then we also have the neck. You can throw this all into a pot right now and just boil it to make a stock with some veggies like onion, celery, stuff like that. And I think I might just go ahead and do that because I know I'm not going to get like a whole lot of drippings. Well, I might get a lot of drippings, I don't know, but why not make a stock instead of like wasting these pieces of the bird. Okay, y'all, so my turkey is cleaned. I just rinsed it off and then I just laid it all out on this tray. So now I'm just gonna season everything up and let it sit for maybe an hour, just to let everything soak in and to give the turkey time to dry out on top, so the skin will get crispy as it cooks. And I literally just put a whole bunch of spices. I pulled out a bunch of stuff, so I'm just gonna like empty my spice cabinet onto this turkey so I can get as much flavor out of it as possible. So I got rosemary, complete seasoning, some Cajun seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper. I also got some smoked paprika and some garlic and herb seasoning. You can add thyme, you can really add whatever you want, but this is what I'm using, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start seasoning it up. Now just rub it all in, and you can set the turkey aside so it can have time to kind of marinate in all the spices. Got my rosemary. I don't know how I forgot that, but I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit on top. And I'm gonna set this aside for, like I said, about an hour. So I'm kind of setting up my workstation. I got my peeled potatoes here, but these are not rinsed yet. So I rinse it, slice it here, and then throw them in the pan. And now that I have a good layer, I'm gonna start like adding everything to it. So you need a lot of sugar to make candy yams or sweet potatoes. So I'm gonna add sugar. You also need cinnamon, nutmeg, and butter. So I'm just gonna start layering everything in. And these honestly take like 2 hours to cook because I like to cover mine, cook them covered, and kind of like stir them up throughout the process. And then I go back once they're completely done, I go back and let them and remove the covering, the foil off the top, and let it cook a little bit more until the sauce thickens and everything. It turns into kind of like a syrup. So it takes like a good 2 hours to cook these properly. So that's why I'm doing these next. I'm gonna use this full stick of butter. And I'm just gonna keep rinsing, slicing, and layering. You want to put less nutmeg than cinnamon. You don't want it to, nutmeg is very strong, so you don't need as much of it as you do of the cinnamon. So you put like a light dusting of nutmeg and more of a heavy dusting of cinnamon. And I also wanted to add that you want to cut your sweet potatoes kind of thinly because you want them to have more surface area for the flavor to stick to. The thicker you make them, the harder it's going to be to get that flavor into the inside of the potato. So just cut them pretty thin. And they'll also cook quicker the thinner you cut them. So my potatoes are going to go over the top of this, but don't worry about that because they will cook down as they're cooking in the pan, and they're going to lose a lot of the moisture, and they're going to kind of shrink down as they cook. Alright, gonna go ahead and do my last layer. And I know this is a lot of sugar. Obviously this is not something you're gonna eat every day. This is a decadent side dish. This is for holidays and like special occasions, so you know. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into the bottom rack of the oven. I got it on 375, but I'm gonna make my pies next, and I'm gonna lower it to 350 when the pies go in. So in the oven this goes. And I'm gonna start working on my pie. My butter is slightly frozen. It's not quite thawed completely to room temperature. So I'm gonna pop that in the bowl first, and then I'm gonna start to just take the skin off my sweet potatoes and pop those in. They're still a little bit warm, so they'll help to melt the butter. And this is another 2-pound bag of sweet potatoes that I got for the pie. So that made 3 pounds altogether. I mean 6 pounds altogether, 3 2-pound bags. So all these little roasted caramelized pieces are going to give you a lot of flavor. If you don't have time to roast your potatoes, just go ahead and boil them. You'll still get a good pie. The flavor just might not be as intense. And yeah, I'm really just gonna dump everything into this bowl because like I said, I don't have time to be sitting around trying to do everything in a certain order. Like, it doesn't even matter, it'll taste the same in the end anyway. So just get it all in there. Alright, got the rest of my ingredients. I just got some sweetened condensed milk, cream, 2 eggs. You need 1 egg per pie. Some lemon extract and vanilla extract. So I'm literally just throwing everything in addition to your spices. Obviously you need cinnamon and nutmeg as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in. That's probably about a tablespoon of cinnamon and maybe like a teaspoon of nutmeg. I'm gonna add this full can of sweetened condensed milk. Add about a tablespoon of lemon. And you can do heavy cream, light cream, milk, whatever you have. I need to use this up, so I'm gonna do a little bit of light cream. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. Oh, I almost forgot, y'all. You also need sugar. So maybe like a half to a full cup, maybe like 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And now we mix. Yeah, I'm really working on breaking down this butter. You can see like the chunks of butter in there. I'm like leaning on them with the mixer to make sure that I get all of that broken down. And once I do that, I'm just gonna taste it and see what it needs. Okay, so all the butter is broken down now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a taste. And you want this to be very, very flavorful and very sweet. If you're not quite sure if it has enough flavor, add more. Yeah, mine is not sweet enough, and it also doesn't have enough flavor. So I went ahead and just added a little bit more of everything, and I'm just going to give it another mix and then taste it again. And now it's there. Like, now it's delicious. Every flavor is popping. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into two deep dish pie crusts. All right, you get it as even as you can. Then just throw these in the oven on 350 for probably about an hour. All right, I got everything cleaned, and I'm gonna do the banana pudding next just because it needs time to like set up. So I'm gonna get that made up and put in the fridge so that I can move on to the side dishes. So I got 3 boxes of just instant vanilla pudding. You can use any brand you want, it doesn't really matter. Just gonna throw these in the bowl. So if you were making this recipe as the box called for, if you were making the pudding, you know, if you were making it into vanilla pudding, you would add about 2 cups of milk per box. But I want mine to be like thicker and more concentrated because I'm going to use the heavy whipping cream with it. So I'm going to probably do about 3 cups total of milk, 3 to 4 cups. I would say I added about 3 cups of water to this, and it is super thick. It thickened up pretty much immediately. So I'm gonna add 1 more cup of milk because I don't want it too thick. So it's still super thick, just not as thick as it was before. And now I'm gonna add, this is a 32 ounce container of heavy cream, so I'm gonna add at least 8 ounces. Which would, I mean, at least 16 ounces, which is half the container. So I went ahead and added the entire thing of heavy whipping cream. It was 32 ounces altogether. So now it's rich, it's light, it's fluffy, it tastes really good. So that was 4 cups of the whole milk total. Give that a good whip and then add in your whipping cream. And I beat this for probably about 5 minutes to get it to this consistency. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start layering. All right, I got 2 bags of vanilla wafers and I'm just gonna start layering my pudding with my bananas and my wafers. And you want your bananas to be at the stage of ripeness that you normally would eat them at. So I don't like my bananas super ripe. So I'm not gonna put bananas in my pudding that are riper than I would eat. And I want a lot of cookies in mine, like a lot. Whenever you think you got too many cookies, add some more. And you want to give this time to sit because you need your cookies to soften, and that takes time. So that's why I'm doing this at this stage as opposed to waiting later to do it. I'm just pressing it down to make sure that the pudding is getting around every single cookie that's in there. I don't want any dry cookies in my pudding. So just press it. Make sure you get everything really well coated. Alright, smooth it out, and then I'm just going to add one more layer of cookies on top. Okay, so my turkey's been sitting for maybe an hour and a half. So I'm gonna go ahead and drizzle it with some olive oil before I pop it in the oven. My pies are just about done, so I'm gonna pull these out in a few minutes and pop the turkey in. And in the meantime, I'm just starting my water for the macaroni. So while I'm waiting for the pies to come out and boiling the water for the noodles, I'm just gonna go ahead and get the ham unwrapped and put into this baking dish so that it can go in the oven as well, because you know the ham is already fully cooked. All we have to do is just pop that in the oven and basically heat it up. So I'm just prepping it to go in the oven. This one's already spiral sliced and it's boneless, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pop it in. I don't have to worry about heating it all the way through to the bone. It's pretty small, it's about 5 pounds. So I'm just gonna, like I said, just go ahead and pop this into here. And that's it for this as far as preparing it to go in the oven. Yeah, I dropped one of the pies, but whatever, we'll still eat it. I salvaged what I could, threw the rest away, and still tastes good. It's just in shambles. But here is the other pie that's done and looks pretty good. So like I said before I put these in, you just want to give them a stir every maybe 30-45 minutes just to make sure everything is coated in the sauce. And you can see that it's in there, but it's pretty runny. So you want to just let them continue to cook. They're not done yet. They're still pretty hard, but once they get soft, you just want to continue to toss them into the sauce and then let it cook uncovered to get the crispy edges on the potatoes. You can also taste your sauce at this point to see if it needs more seasoning. I think mine might need a little more sugar and also some more of the spices. You want your food seasoned. You got to make sure that you are seasoning your food at every stage. Every opportunity that you have to add more flavor. If you taste it and you feel like it could stand to get some more flavor, just add some more seasoning so that your food is good in the end. It's hard to season it once it's cooked, so season as you go. And season according to your taste buds. You might like some things more than other people and vice versa. So you might think yours was sweet enough where I might feel like it needs more sugar. And I know that I want my sauce to be thick in the end, like a syrup, as opposed to like a runny consistency. So the sugar helps to thicken it as well. Now it's good. It's really good. So once you get it all mixed up, just pop your foil right back on and throw it right back in the oven. Okay guys, I'm about to start on the macaroni and cheese. The noodles are about halfway done boiling. So I got all my cheeses. I got Monterey Jack, Gouda, mild cheddar, and also sharp cheddar cheese. So obviously these are already shredded. I don't have to do anything with those. This is slices, so I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm going to cut this into like little strips because I'm not going to worry about shredding it because it's going into a cheese sauce. So it'll melt if I just cut it into small enough pieces. So that's all I'm going to do to prepare this cheese for the macaroni. I think I'll save about this much just to put on top. But the rest I'm going to put into the cheese sauce. But I'm going to use the pan that the macaroni is boiling in to make the cheese sauce. So I need to just wait until it's done, drain it, and then I'll come back with that pan, start making my roux, get my cheese sauce together, and get my macaroni into the microwave. Into the oven, not the microwave. I'm going to add a stick of butter into my macaroni and cheese to make the roux. So I'm just going to go ahead and chop that up because this butter is not room temperature. So just want to give it a better opportunity to melt, so I'm just going to go ahead and chop it up. So all you do is melt your butter, you add some flour till you get a little bit of a thick consistency. Yes, you want a little bit of a thick consistency on this. Give it like a minute just to cook the flavor of the flour out. And then we can start building our cheese sauce. Sorry for the lighting. I can't, I don't have a better angle, so I'm sorry in advance. I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of this just so it won't go bad. I have it in my refrigerator and I don't want it to spoil, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that, as well as just some regular milk. Probably about 2 cups of normal milk and probably about 1.5 cups of the light cream. And I also have some evaporated milk, so I'm going to add that as well. You definitely don't have to do all this. You can just use regular milk, but I have it on hand, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. And then you just want to bring this to a simmer and let it thicken, and then you can go ahead and start adding in your cheeses. Just wanted to give you guys a time check. We are 3 hours in and we have the turkey in the oven. The turkey broth is done. Sweet potato pies are done. Macaroni and cheese is halfway there. We got the ham ready to go in the oven. We got the sweet potatoes in the oven. All that's left to do is the rice, which takes 15 minutes in the microwave. We got to make the gravy and we got to make the greens. So I think we're going to be at about 4 hours by the time we're finished, which isn't bad at all. Alright, so it's pretty thick at this point. You can kind of see how thick it's gotten. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to add in the cheese. I'm gonna turn off the heat. The residual heat from the sauce will melt the cheese. I'm gonna add just about all of it. I'm gonna reserve some cheese of each kind for the top. So just about all of the sharp cheddar is gonna go in. I left like just the bottom to go into the to go on top at the end, and I'm basically going to do that with each one. This stuff is thick, so that's what you want. You want a sauce that's going to coat all of your noodles and make your end dish very creamy. Okay, so now my sauce is pretty smooth, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in my noodles. Oh, I forgot to mention, I boiled like 1.5 pounds of noodles. So all of them are going in. So now is when you want to taste it for seasoning, because you want it to be all together before you try it, because you might have your noodles are already salty, so you want to just mix everything together and then taste it, and you'll know if you need to add more seasoning or not. Just gonna add a little bit of seasoned salt to it, and that's it for seasoning. Give it another mix, and I'm gonna pop this into a pan, sprinkle all the remaining cheese on top, and then it can go in the oven. Right now it might look a little weird with the cheese like that on top, but it's all gonna melt and come together, and in the end it'll be perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into the oven uncovered for probably about 30 minutes. I just want it to melt and maybe get a little bit crispy on top. So I went ahead and took the turkey out. It's clear to me that all of this stuff is done. I'm not sure about the breast, but I think it's done. I'm gonna go ahead and like stab it. I'm scared because I don't want the juices to. Oh yeah, it's done. It's going straight through, no resistance at all. So turkey's completely done. I have my stock that I made right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dump the drippings from the turkey into that stock pot. Take out all the veggies and then go ahead and start to make the gravy. And then I also have my other pot right here ready to make the greens. All I'm going to do is go ahead and rinse them off. They're already cut up. I bought the kind that are already cut. I'm using collard greens, so I'm just going to rinse them and then get them into this pot and start cooking those. Alright, I'm going to take this to the sink and go ahead and get all this stuff out. I'm putting the ham in the oven right now. Ham's in. Alright, so this was the backbone and it's really falling apart, but there's a lot of meat on this, so you can leave all that meat in your gravy. No point in throwing it out. Just get rid of the bones. Same thing with the turkey neck. You can just break up all of the meat off of it. And now I'm going to put my drippings into the pan as well. you do want to take the fat off, so you don't want the fat in your gravy. And now all I'm going to do is add some more chicken stock and thicken this with a slurry made with flour and water. I'm tired, y'all. I took like a 30-minute break. I ate some macaroni and cheese, what was left over that wouldn't fit in that pot. And now the macaroni and cheese is done. So I just took this out of the oven. Probably should have put the Monterey Jack underneath the cheddar, but whatever, it's just us. So I'm about to check the sweet potatoes, and the ham can go in now because I have some more room in the oven. The turkey is probably just about done. I'm about to start, go ahead and cook the rice, the greens, and make the gravy, and then that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hop right back into finishing up. I'm gonna go ahead and check on my sweet potatoes while my gravy is coming to a simmer. I'm pretty sure that they are ready at this point as far as the doneness of them. So I'm gonna give them one more toss. Yep, they're done now. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of baste them in the sauce. You can see that it's thickening a lot now. You can definitely see how syrupy it is at this point, and that's exactly what you want. So I'm just going to pop these back in the oven. Okay, so I got my pan, or my pot, it's on medium heat. I'm gonna add some olive oil, and then I'm gonna add my washed greens. Whoa. That's what you get when you try to do things with one hand. Okay, so I'm gonna let those cook down, and this is only one bag. I'm gonna add the other bag once this one is done, once it like cooks down a little bit, because it just won't fit right now. So while my greens are sauteing, I'm gonna go ahead and just add get my rice cooking. So I just do however much rice I put twice as much water, and then I just throw it in the microwave for 15 minutes. And that's literally it. This just goes into the microwave for 15 minutes. You can start with 10 minutes and then check it to see if it needs more water. If it's getting dry, just add more water and then do the last 5 minutes, and you're done. Okay, so my first batch of greens is cooked down. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and add in my second batch, and then again just saute them in the olive oil until they're cooked down, and then I'll add everything else to flavor them up. I added the other half of the chicken stock in here. And now I'm going to go ahead and season our greens. I'm going to add some garlic and herb seasoning to this, as well as the gravy. Might as well season them both at the same time. Add a little bit of sugar just to get rid of the bitterness that's in the greens. Just like maybe a capful of apple cider vinegar. And I'm just going to go ahead and give this all a stir. At this point you can taste it to see if it needs anything else. If it does, then you want to add what it needs. They need some more sugar. It's a little bitter. This would also be a good place to add some Cajun seasoning if you want that. I don't want it to be too spicy though, so I'm not going to add it. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pop the top on this and just let it simmer for maybe 30 minutes until everything is nice and tender, and then these will be done. What our gravy is looking like so far, I went ahead and seasoned it with, you saw what I put, garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, and garlic and herb seasoning. I'm not going to add any salt yet, just because I want to get it actually made into a gravy first, and then I'll test it for salt, because it might not need any. I salted the broth before I added the turkey. So I salted the broth in the beginning. So let's make it the slurry, and then we'll get that added in, get it all mixed up, and then we'll taste it for seasoning. I put like 3 or 4 tablespoons of flour in here, and I'm gonna put the same amount of water, cold water. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a whisk. Okay, so here's my slurry. I got it completely smooth, no lumps. Here's my gravy. You want to drop your temperature down to low at this point because you don't want it to boil over. And then start adding your slurry a little bit at a time while you whisk. Make sure your slurry is really well incorporated, otherwise it will either turn into dumplings or it'll just sit on the bottom of the pan and burn. And you don't want like burnt bits in your gravy, so yeah. Just take a little bit of extra time whisking. You can see it kind of starting to thicken up a little bit. Okay, so my gravy is done. It's thickened enough for me. I don't like my gravy too thick, and it's gonna thicken more as it cools. But it tastes perfectly, like it's seasoned perfectly if you're gonna eat it over something that's seasoned. Like if you're eating this over seasoned rice or stuffing, it's perfectly fine at this point. And it's like perfectly seasoned. It tastes really good. But because I'm putting it over white rice that has no seasoning, I'm gonna add a little bit more salt just because you want it to flavor the rice too. So just a little bit of salt, and other than that, it's perfectly delicious. So that's all I'm gonna add. Just a little bit. And we have one more thing to make, which is the stuffing, but it's kind of like a stovetop stuffing. I don't make a dressing because the only ones that eat it are me and my husband anyway, so no point in like doing a whole lot. I wanted to give you guys another time check. It's now 3:04. The rice is done. I just heard the microwave go off. Yep, the rice is done. The gravy's done. The greens are almost done. The sweet potatoes are will be done probably in about 15 to 20 minutes. The ham is in the oven, and I'll give it probably another 30 minutes to finish. And all that's left to do is the stuffing. So making good time. This meal will be completely done by 3:30, and that makes a grand total of 5 hours of cooking, so not too bad. Ham is done. You could put it back in the oven and get more color on it. It came with the glaze, but I don't want to use it, so this is it for us. I'm just gonna leave the ham as it is. It doesn't really need anything else, so I'm not doing any more work with it. I'm leaving it just like this. Okay, I lied. I put the ham back in the oven. I'm gonna let it cook for maybe 20 minutes just to get some color on top. And now I'm about to go ahead and carve the turkey. Turkey is ready. We got the turkey ready. It's carved up. I only did one breast because again, it's just me, my husband, and my kids. so we're not gonna eat this whole turkey, obviously. So yeah, turkey is done. All this left is the ham and sweet potatoes. I'm just waiting on those to get done, and the meal is finished. Okay guys, my spread is completely done. I got my macaroni and cheese, sweet potatoes, turkey, ham, rice, stuffing, gravy, and greens. Whoop. Time is now 3:30. Completely done. 5 hours on the dot, and I took a break, so. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. We are stuffed. We just finished eating.
I still want to get some of that.
We dipped into the banana pudding. We ate pretty much I ate everything. Except the pie. I tried the banana pudding, it's really good.
The wafers give it the crunchiness and the vanilla-ness.
And we're about to go chill out, so hopefully you guys decide to try these recipes. If you do, let me know how you like them.
Yes, please.
If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and we'll see you guys in the next one.